commitments of jobs, also to fund a certain proportion of the cash cost of the delivery of the programs. In-kind contributions, which might relate to venues for workshops that we run, refreshments at those workshops, and so on. And then also, naturally, a partnership in governance, so that all our private sector partners will sit on our advisory council. The PIOJ, which I neglected to mention on the last slide, has endorsed the program as a part of the community renewal program, the youth development piece of that program, and they will also have a representative on the advisory council. The blueprint overall of YUTE really offers what we describe as three distinct streams. One is an employment stream, which we describe as YUTE Works. There's an entrepreneurship scheme, YUTE Entrepreneurs. And then thirdly, there is a stream that is really intended for those of our youngsters who, for one reason or another, require a threshold level of counseling and resocialization in order to then re-enter one of the other streams. So it's a series of these streams, and these streams have subsidiary streams and tributaries, which will ensure that no young person participating in the program is left behind. This is a map. Does this thing have a pointer? Okay, yes it does. This is a map that really sets out graphically the three streams and how they're likely to work. We begin here, and you're actually at orientation, and you are actually sitting in the venue where earlier in the day we had a couple of hundred young people from where? Trenchtown and Jonestown, who were going through the initial orientation. These individuals are individuals through our work on the ground who are invited to attend this orientation session. And in as much as anything else, the purpose of the orientation is really twofold. First of all, to get their commitment and buy-in to the program itself and staying the course in the program. And then secondly, in order to be able to screen those individuals and to determine on the basis of that screening which of the three streams of the youth program is most suitable to their particular needs and circumstances. The employment stream, which starts here, there will be, we anticipate, a certain number of skilled registrants who are otherwise ready for the job market that we would put into a career preparedness workshop, following which we would attempt to place them within this key linchpin of the program, which is the Job Opportunity Bank. The non-skilled registrants will then move into a series of subsidiary and tributary streams that will provide literacy and other skills training, following which they would move back into career preparedness and then to placement. For those young persons who we believe would benefit from a more intensive intervention, we have developed what we're calling here our U-Turn Cadet Engineer Program. It's likely to be run by one of our NGO partners, the Peace Management Initiative, PMI, who have a significant amount of experience in running camps of this sort. It will involve actually taking the young people out of the community and putting them in a very orderly environment, providing counseling both on a group basis, one-on-one, team building exercises, life planning, life skills training, as well as a certain level of active service engagement, whether it is through the Cadet Corps or in other Steps to Works programs and so on elsewhere in the system. Again, once graduated from this stream, youth will have an opportunity to enter one of the other streams, the employment or the entrepreneurship. And at the same time, finally we have the entrepreneurship stream, which will involve orientation workshops, fairly extensive orientation, and will be followed by business development workshops. And very importantly, the intention is to provide community-based business aids that will actually work alongside the individuals who, as a result of this program, actually establish their own enterprises. And there may be a certain number of individual enterprises that are created as a result of this program. We are hopeful also that there will be a certain element of community-based enterprises in which the community as a whole has a stake. The program scope for phase 1, as we describe it, July 2010 through January 2013, will focus geographically on the downtown business district, as well as the corridor between the airport and what we describe as the Industrial Parkway, Marcus Garvey Drive. And as many of you will readily appreciate, that is a corridor that is surrounded by a number of the very vulnerable communities that we described up front. We are hopeful, depending on the success of this program, to be able to extend it to cover other communities elsewhere in the island, as well as in the wider corporate area. In terms of those communities that we have selected to start with, the list is here. I'm not going to read it, simply to say that our selection of these communities for the first implementation of orientation sessions and then follow-on training has been based, first of all, on the level of youth employment, youth population rather, and youth unemployment in those particular communities. Importantly, because we are looking to implement these programs through our various NGO partners and state partners, it was important to us to know that these potential partners actually have operations and are on the ground in these communities. And then finally, although not specifically dealt with here, we were naturally very careful as a private sector, non-political organization to ensure that there was adequate balance in terms of the participation of communities that are generally supportive of one or other of the two main political parties. This is just a schematic of our governance structure. There is a main advisory council on which a number of our partners will sit. There is a core executive group which consists in part of a number of the people that are in the room this afternoon. And we have then a project initiation team that is actually rolling out the program as we speak, including this first set of orientations that we've been running between last week and this week. All right. The youth program is going to require a very significant investment of cash and in kind over 2.5 years. 43%, or some $384 million of that program, represents the value of the long-term jobs, work experience, and apprenticeship opportunities that will be provided by the private sector.